Welcome back, everybody. Summer is definitely here. I know here in Georgia the heat and humidity have kicked up to 11 here, and with summer comes concerns, especially as athletes, about how to stay hydrated, because working out, running, cycling, doing anything outside, especially when it's hot and humid, you want to be aware of how much water you are taking in to make sure that you do not get dehydrated. So I thought I would use this nice and muggy morning here in Georgia to show you a little bit about how you can think about hydrating and how much water you need when you are out exercising, because everybody's different. Everybody is more adapted or less adapted to running in hot and humid weather. So I'm going to do what is called a sweat test as part of my long run today. Today is my long run day, and the workout today is somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours of long run. So I'm going to do what is called a sweat test, where you weigh yourself at the beginning of an activity, and then you go out typically for an hour. Seems to be the standard protocol. You go out for an hour, you come back, you towel off, make sure you're dry, and then weigh yourself again to see how much fluid you have lost. And with the idea being, if you do that within an hour, then that gives you an idea about how much liquid you should be drinking and consuming while you're in the activity. Now, everybody's different with hydration, but there seems to be a general kind of rule of thumb out there, is that you don't want to lose more than about 2 to 3% of your body weight in water during an activity. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to weigh myself before the run, and then I'm going to go off and do my run, and I'm going to come back in about an hour, and then I will towel myself off and then I'm going to weigh myself, and I've got a little sheet here to track everything. Starting weight, which will be the weight before I start my run, weight after 1 hour, so I'll be able to know how much weight I lost. And I'll probably, since I'm running longer, I'm going to drink a little bit of water before I go out for the second half of my run. I'm going to weigh myself again, and then we'll be able to see how much I have lost. And I'm very interested in it because obviously summer's here. I'm doing a lot of running in the heat and humidity. I want to make sure I manage my hydration levels as best as possible. So let me go ahead and get ready, and we'll get the pre-run weight. Okay, as you can see, I've got the shirt off. I still have my heart rate monitor on, but no shoes, just my socks and shorts. So let's go ahead and weigh myself and get a pre-run weigh in. Let's see if you guys can see that. 160 even. So that's my starting weight. I'm going to go out and go for my first hour of the run, and we'll come back and see what I weigh after an hour, and see how much I sweat in this, what is it, 75 degrees and about 90% humidity right now. So should get a good sweat on, that's for sure. Back in an hour. Okay, just about done with the hour here. Show you the time. 59:18. So just coming up on the house here, and there we go. And we shall see. I don't know if you can see, but I'm pretty much sweating through the entire shirt. So it'll be interesting to see how much weight I lost in this hour. It's a little breezy, but it's hot for sure. So let's see what we get here. I don't know how close I can get to to one hour. There you go. 58. All right, 2 seconds away. All right, so while I was gone, I had my production assistant bring out a thing of water, so I will do that. But I'm going to go ahead and get down, towel off a little bit, and we'll see how much weight I lost in an hour of running in pretty warm weather. All right, shoes off, toweled off. Let's step on the scale and see what the verdict is after 1 hour of running. $158. So that means I lost 2 pounds of water in 1 hour running. So a little sheet here, 160 at the beginning, 158. So I'm gonna drink some water. I've got 2 pounds of water in here, so I'm gonna drink, I don't know, probably a pound of that, 16 ounces. And I'll go out for the second half of my run, which is gonna be a little harder. It's gonna be mostly easy with some fartleks, some intervals at the end, just like 1 minute pickups. So I'll come back and we'll take a look at everything. All right, back in a bit. And here's the final tally. An hour 55, 12.6 miles. Whew. That second half was harder than the first. I did 20 minutes easy, and then I did 10 by 1 minute intervals at 5K race pace with a couple minutes recovery. So a little harder. Let's see what the scale says. $155. Wow, that's a lot, because as you can see, before I started the second half of the run, I drank 16 ounces of water. So that means I lost almost 3 pounds in that second hour. So let me get cooled off, and we'll talk about how doing a sweat test can help you manage your hydration, and a couple of other keys that you need to look for, including watching your pee and paying attention to the 3 T's. All right, back in a bit. Okay, back and showered and rehydrated and refueled. It's about 4 hours after I finished that long run and weighed myself, and very interesting. I've done this a couple of times over the previous 6 or 7 years, but this one was kind of interesting. So I'll show you this. I started off at 160. After the first hour, I was down to 158, which means I lost 32 ounces in that first hour. I then drank 16 ounces of water, electrolyte, before I went off to the second half of the run. And when I came back, I was still 155. So that means I lost 3.5 pounds of body weight, really, because I drank 16, but lost 3 plus that 16. That's 4 pounds. That's 4 pounds in that last 55 minutes of running, it was warmer. Humidity was still up, and I ran at a higher level. So total weight lost over that 2-hour run was 96 ounces. So that's 6 pounds, which is about 3.5% of my body weight. So I was a little dehydrated at the end of that 2-hour run, and but within about half an hour of finishing, I drank about 60 ounces of fluid, about 45 ounces of electrolyte fluid, and then about another 15 ounces of a recovery drink, which I will talk about in an upcoming video. But between the two, I pretty much got rehydrated. I just weighed myself half an hour ago after we went out and got some lunch, and I was back up to 158.5. So pretty much recovered, but it's definitely something to pay attention to. And like I said, that sweat test is a great way for you as an individual to gauge how much you sweat at given the time of the year. I know pretty certain that if I had done that same run in the winter when it was 45 degrees instead of 75 and humid, I would have lost maybe 2 pounds instead of 6. So it's very, very important. And the key thing, I think a couple of things to take away from this is, one, make sure that you acclimate yourself to running in warmer temperatures, more humid temperatures, it takes a while for the body to adjust to that. And two, monitor your current state of hydration or dehydration. And one of the best ways to do that is to look at your pee. It is a very good indicator in most cases of how well hydrated you are. If you are hydrated, your pee should be a little lighter than the color of this electrolyte drink in this water bottle. It should be about the color of a light straw. So if it's dark yellow or beyond, that means that you are probably dehydrated. The best way to hydrate for an activity is to make sure that you are hydrated in the days coming up to that activity, and then monitor your pee to double check the color. That gives you a pretty good clue whether you're on track or not for hydration. And then the three things that you want to pay attention to when it comes to hydrating during an event or deciding whether you need to hydrate during an event, I call the 3 T's, and that is time, temperature, and tempo. Tempo is speed or intensity. So if you're going to be running more than an hour, in almost all cases, regardless of whether the weather is warm or cold, you will probably want to rehydrate a little bit along the way. If it's a summer day, hot and humid, you're going to want to definitely make sure you're drinking some water partway through any event or workout that's going to be more than an hour long. The temperature is a key factor. Obviously, the warmer it is, the more you're going to have to pay attention to hydration, the more you will sweat, and the more you need to pay attention to hydration. The intensity, or the tempo, is the third thing that you really want to pay attention to. Going out like I did today for a relatively easy long run, it was hot and it was over an hour, but the intensity was relatively low. I still needed to drink a good amount of water to get rehydrated. So those are the 3 things to think about. In general, and everybody is different, and make sure you check with your qualified medical professional before doing anything different than what you're normally doing. But in general, if you are maintaining good hydration throughout the week, you probably will not need to take in additional water on an event that is less than an hour. In other words, if you want to, you can, there's no problem there, but you can probably run that event or cycle that event or walk that event if it's less than an hour in almost all cases, and then just make sure that you do a good job of rehydrating after the event. If the event is going to be more than an hour, then you definitely want to consider your hydration strategy within that event. So for those of you that may be participating in like a 10K or a half marathon, ultra marathon, you're going to be on your feet and moving for at least an hour, probably 3 to 4 hours for a typical marathoner. You definitely need to pay attention to hydration, even more if it is warm. But generally, if it's less than an hour, you can take care of your hydration needs by making sure you're hydrated before the event and then refueling after the event. And when it comes to refueling, water is great, but it's important to make sure that you're getting some electrolytes in with that water. So the typical electrolytes that people always seem to look at is sodium, potassium, magnesium, and chloride. So if you can find those in an electrolyte drink that doesn't have any added sugar or anything like that, pretty much just a flavoring and some electrolytes, that's probably a good choice. I'm going to put links in the description to a couple that I have used over the years. This first one is Ultima Replenisher. It has a good dose of calcium, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, pretty much all the basic electrolytes. And then another one that I've started using and I've been very happy with, and that's what's in this bottle, is the lemonade flavor version of Key Nutrients Electrolyte they call this Recovery Plus. So this has a lot of electrolytes plus some vitamins and minerals. This has been really tasty. It's got a nice, slightly sweet flavor, but not too sweet. There's no calories in it. It's just basically electrolytes and flavoring. So I'll put a link to these down there, but there's lots of hydration products. So make sure that you pay attention to how much you are sweating. Doing a sweat test like I did is a great way to get a baseline. And you might do that at different times of the year because people sweat more and less depending on the weather. But pay attention to your hydration, and if you're definitely running for more than an hour, you need to be thinking about adding hydration inside the envelope of your overall event. Hope that was helpful. If you like what you're seeing here and you want to make sure that other people see this and get the information out to more than just you, go ahead and share it with your friends, and go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Those are two of the best ways to get the word out to everybody else about what we're doing here at Life Maximus. And thanks for watching. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of this video, and we will see you next time. And until then, be well.